Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. Today, we have our Captain Marvel spoiler review. Well, non-spoiler to begin with, and then we'll get into spoilers. Aaron wanted to do full spoiler. I was like, let's ease it in for people that didn't see it this weekend.
You're the fucking
We want to
worst.
give people some time
You said
to watch the movie, experience
At least
it.
till Monday.
At least till Monday, right?
Yeah.
That's Ted's reasonable.
Hey, guys, everyone
Marissa
listening.
didn't even want to do a review.
Complete opposite
Oh my
happened.
I did beggar.
And, of course, today I'm joined by Aaron the Nerd Soup Monkey, Teddy, and Marissa. Got a full panel here today to talk Captain Marvel, the new Marvel movie. What is this, 21? Or 20th?
I lost count.
Yeah, I'm losing count here.
Was Infinity War 20?
I think it was 20 or 19.
So then this is 20 or 21.
Somebody's going to comment it down below. You know that the
Idiots.
Unsullied have dragon glass armor on during the Battle of Winterfell? Yeah, Jordan.
We're crossing
Scott Hart's
fandoms right now.
Right. Yeah, so let's get right into it. Captain Marvel. I guess we'll start with Marissa because you are the resident comic book fan. Do you know a lot about Captain Marvel in the comics?
Actually, not really.
No. You
The
haven't read a
most-
lot of Shazam?
No. The most I've read about Captain Marvel has been in the Civil War II arc, which wasn't very great to begin with, and it's not a very favorable representation of her, I think.
It's a good place to start. Her terrible comic. She replaces Captain America in that, right?
No, she's just Captain Marvel. I mean, like, she
takes the Captain America role.
She takes the Tony Stark role.
Okay.
Yeah. The Civil War II is not like a very great story. They were kind of just capitalizing on the fact that the Civil War movie was coming out.
Yeah.
I read it for Miles Morales.
Right. And so you don't know anything about her origins in the comic?
Not really, not too much, just
Well-
the basics.
What did you think about her origins in this?
I thought it was pretty obvious right from the beginning how she got her powers, everything. But I didn't know much about how she got her powers in the comics to compare it to how she got them in the movie. But
Yeah, me neither.
I was like, the classic comic book origin wasn't too out of place or anything.
No, it was kind of, classic comic book. I actually was a little disappointed in that. But what did you think about the movie overall?
Do I give a rating?
At the end.
Yeah, no, let's end this right now.
I thought it was solid. I think what its Rotten Tomatoes score is pretty accurate to the movie experience. It was fun. I wished it was a little more emotional in parts. Like it felt very much like Guardians of the Galaxy, but less aliens. Even though I would say maybe more aliens. I don't know.
The aliens seemed more human, kind of like they had more human traits. Like they weren't really terrorist aliens.
They humanized the
Yeah.
Skrulls, and they became humans.
Yeah, it was funny. It was fun to watch. I like Captain Marvel, and I'm totally overpowered. So I want to see how that works in,
I like that.
in Endgame. I like that too. I like how she was confident and she was like cracking jokes, and it was nice because I don't know. Sometimes it's like you don't want all the doom and gloom, just everyone being sad all the time.
What did you think, Ted?
I thought it was a fun film. A lot of action. The CGI was great.
CGI was good.
Yeah, all the space scenes were phenomenal. The comedy I thought it was great.
I thought it was movie theater comedy.
It was Marvel comedy.
It was
And you
very.
enjoy it
It felt
because
like a
the
buddy
crowd's
cop
laughing?
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their dynamic was great. Brie Larson and Samuel L. Jackson, Fury and Carol Danvers.
Yeah, I would say he might have stolen the show at a couple points.
He was really good, but you know who I thought stole the show? Ben Mendelsohn
Oh yeah,
as the leader of the Skrulls.
fantastic. Finally got like a decent role.
Right, yeah.
Is it bold to say that he was the best part of the movie?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I would agree with that. But his voice, I mean, the accent is great, the Australian accent. And the design of the Skrulls, the prosthetics, and I'm sure it's mixed with CGI as well. Some of them were just straight CGI, but Mendelsohn looked like prosthetics. They looked great. And the way that they used the Korean Skrull War was very clever. That was the nice subversion for me. Because I really thought this was going to be two sides, two bad guys, her trying to mediate. But it turned out to be more complex than war usually is.
No, yeah, I thought it was very solid. I mean, especially that aspect of it because I felt like everyone was like predicting, like, I don't know, when you have Jude Law and Ben Mendelsohn on opposite sides, you're like, oh, they're usually both like the fucking bad guys.
Yeah.
So like you said, I was expecting them to both clash, but I like the way they played with that a little. That was a pretty solid addition to the MCU. I felt it was very, it had its Marvel moments. I think it probably fits right in like the middle tier. It's not, I don't think it's upper echelon or the bottom, but it's just a solid addition. I really liked, like you said, Ben Mendelsohn, Samuel L. Jackson, and Brie Larson's dynamic was great. That was probably the better part of the movie. And the first act and most of the second act too, it just took a while to get going. But once it did, I felt it really picked up, and there's a lot of like great moments that I look forward to seeing again. Especially a lot of the scenes too, when the aspect ratio, if you see it in IMAX.
I was wondering if that was happening.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It's called, like probably if you think back, the
A
best.
lot of the cat scenes were in IMAX.
If you think back of like the best scenes of the movie, that's when it went up. So
Yeah.
they used it at the right times, and
I still find it so distracting, even though I didn't. I subconsciously noticed it.
I've never noticed.
I was like, is this happening? I wasn't sure if it was happening.
Yeah, and I don't think it's, like I said, it's not redefining like the MCU, and it's not. I just think it was a very solid addition.
Yeah, it's funny because we had a podcast question that we didn't answer, and they asked us if a movie is ever so good that it ruins the rest of the genre. And I didn't necessarily like the wording of that, but I think it's interesting when you look at Infinity War and the movies that come after it, where it's just stretched the scale of what quantifies a good MCU movie, that everything after Infinity Wars, it's not necessarily a letdown, but when you get a movie that's a masterpiece like that, for me, when you watch a movie like Captain Marvel, it's kind of, once again, the cookie-cutter checklist Marvel movie.
I think that's also because, like, at this point in Marvel phases, for the most part, we've gotten origin movies out of the way. So when an origin movie pops up now, it feels old.
Well, Spider-Man,
Exactly.
they skipped the
Which is why I think Homecoming did so well. Or at least, I mean, I'm biased. I love Spider-Man. But I personally liked Homecoming as a sort of quasi-origin story compared to this movie.
What did you think about the gaps in memory, taking that tactic? And
I liked it.
exploring
It
her
was a
backstory.
cool device, but I think they took too long.
Yeah, it did drag. Like that second act was pretty slow. I went in there expecting a long build up because the MCU is so far along, and like to add an origin movie right at the end actually of pretty much the Marvel universe, it's tough. But I thought they did a good job. It was
So you
slow,
think
but I
maybe
liked
they-
it. It was slow, but it was a good story.
should they have skipped the origin and just focus on the complexities of the
Well,
pre-Skrull War?
Yeah, they could have, like, the way, I mean, if you see it in the trailer, right, she has those flashes of her past, and she's trying to figure out who she is. And we've seen that time and time again in movies. I mean, if you just throw her in, and she's, if she's Captain Marvel, like, she's already established, and she kind of is when the movie starts, right? The first scene, oh, she has something going on. But they use the memory loss as a plot device to help, I guess, develop her character and till that point. But I think if they went ahead with it, like you just said, she's already established Captain Marvel, but get into the complexities of the Kree-Skrull War. But I guess you gotta like try to connect them, and how did she get to Earth? How did she know Fury? So you kind of have to have that aspect of it just to put the pieces together.
I think if the movie had started with her crash landing in the blockbuster, we wouldn't have lost anything.
Yeah, I think the plot device of using the missing memories, it didn't bother me because it's so obvious what her origin truly was.
Yeah.
That we kind of already knew. It was kind of her just figuring it out. It wasn't a surprise to us when we saw that picture of her as the fighter pilot. So I didn't mind it. I actually thought everything that they used to push the narrative forward was fine. It's just the movie was, overall, I think the word I would use to describe it is vanilla, where I enjoyed it, but it felt very plain. There wasn't a moment that actually wowed me. I kept thinking while watching it that this is a movie that I'm not going to be thrilled to revisit. It's cool because I'm watching it now for the first time, and it's an introduction to a character that's going to be very important moving forward. But yeah, it was a middle of the road. If we get to our scores, we'll get to our scores at the end, but it sits for me like 10, 11 throughout the whole MCU.
I think it does help though with that plot device that there's so much surrounding it with the MCU. Because a lot of times that's used for for exposition purposes, just like to catch her up, get her up to speed. And I felt like they didn't do that, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
That would have made the movie probably a lot worse if the whole time it's like, oh, what's Earth? What's this? Like, and Fury's explaining, oh, S.H.I.E.L.D. is this, and
Oh,
Yeah,
This
you
is where
don't
we
need
got-
I
that.
did like
No.
how when this isn't a spoiler, when she crash lands to Earth, she's pretty capable. Like,
Yeah.
they're like
they didn't
this
really-
is the 90s gags, but it wasn't like she doesn't know how to do anything.
yeah, no.
It was kind of the same comedy as Thor. When Thor came to Earth, he just acted like a glute.
Yeah.
Acted
Because you have
like
to
everything was
adjust to
fine.
the society.
Yeah.
And they didn't spend too much time on that either, because Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury, kind of gets a hold of the situation pretty quickly. It's 10 minutes where he says, "You're crazy," and then he's like, "Okay, I'm on board with this.
I like
Aliens
that.
exist." Yeah, they didn't waste any time.
Which
on
is
that.
why I think if the movie had jumped in there, it would have been fine, because like they could have added maybe a bit more exposition of her like telling him like why she's here.
I think it's just it's a nice addition. I want to see her in Endgame. I think it was
I think she'll be in it.
No. I mean, like, I'm looking forward to see how she fits in with the other Avengers. It's not like it came in and I'm like, they're going to force this new character. And I was very happy with what we got from Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. So
She's very much their Superman.
I was just going to say that.
When I watch
very
these movies,
powerful.
and I'm like, damn, DC, you really just can't make a Superman movie like this. No spoilers, but there's a moment at the end where I said there wasn't any wow moments, but this was as close as it gets when she's just going, she's going to have her
She's
moment
having
where,
fun.
yeah, right.
I think some of the reason the wowness was taken out of it is because they showed us a lot of the coolest stuff in the trailer.
Yeah.
Like a lot of like key moments where I was like watching the movie, I was matching things up with the trailer in my head, and I was like, well, this will happen eventually. Like, I think they could have left some of it out.
Yeah, I think that's the genius of the new Endgame trailer. Is that it's only the first 25 minutes of the movie, so there's not really much to match up. But yeah, let's go into spoilers here.
Yeah.
All right, the Tesseract. What happened to the Tesseract after the end of the first Captain America? I thought
Thor took it.
No.
Wait, what?
Doesn't S.H.I.E.L.D. have
S.H.I.E.L.D.
it when
has it
Loki,
in the-
Loki comes and gets it, steals it?
right, but I thought they
That's-
found it in the ocean.
Avengers. Well, I don't remember how they found the Tesseract. I remember in Avengers, Fury has it. They're trying to figure out how to like use it.
they're
Loki
working
comes
on
to
it.
get it, and I'm pretty sure after the end of the first Avengers movie, Thor takes it.
I'm wondering, because I thought in the beginning of the Avengers, Fury tells Captain America, "We fished it out of the ocean, like we got you out of the iceberg."
Yeah.
I mean, you could just write that off as him just lying.
I guess
So in what movie does Thor take it? Because it's
at the end
it's
of
on
the
Asgard.
Avengers. At the end of the Avengers.
Okay.
Yeah, he takes it with Loki. Okay, now that we solved that, you just want to skip to the post-credit scene?
That was
Kind
pretty
of.
awesome.
I guess we should, right? It was the best post-credit scene probably in Marvel history.
Yeah, that
It
was
was
fucking
a scene
insane.
from Endgame.
Yeah, pretty much. I
I'm
guess
so
it-
pumped for Endgame.
I'm
That's
like
a lot of it too.
stressed.
It's like, all right, connect us to Avengers, please.
I know.
Yeah.
It seems like, well, I wish they would just do it in the movie. I wish they would connect them during the movie instead of like gotta wait for the post-credit scene to finally connect them. I wish they would just incorporate it into the movie.
You gotta have it stand alone and be its own film. But I mean, for the movie itself too, if we're getting to spoilers, I think the third act, I loved when she was just fucking going off. Like I was waiting the
wish it
whole
was more
time
of
to
that.
see that, and like it was kind of like a little bit like Superman and Steppenwolf, but I just liked that she was having fun. Like she was cracking jokes, like you said. Like the whole movie, she had that confidence in her, but when she finally like harnessed her powers and broke away from the AI and she started just doing it on her own, I thought that was
That was the
awesome.
best scene.
Yeah.
When
Her
she starts
costume is
breaking
sick.
yeah, her costume is great
That's
too.
the best scene in the movie when she's having that battle with the AI and she finally breaks free. And when she starts fucking going off and she's glowing and
Yeah.
it was fucking awesome.
Ronan was shook.
Oh, Ronan was like, yeah, let's turn
And it's
this
so
ship
funny,
around.
like seeing
Peace.
him in the movie,
Yeah.
knowing what happens to him later.
Right, yeah. I
was-
really thought he was going to come for a showdown, but then when she started just taking out all of their ballistic missiles,
He was like, I'm out.
yeah, he doesn't
I
have
wish
a
she would have
chance.
just took him out right there. That would have been nice.
Well, he said that would have made no sense. I'm over here hung up on the Tesseract. You want to kill Ronan 20 years before Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, but I also love the moment, too, when she changes the suit to the Captain Marvel colors. And I'll tell you what, her co-pilot
wondering
was a
when that
great
happened.
character, but the daughter was adorable. She was such a great character, and I
Yeah, I
usually hate
think-
kids just in general.
All the supporting actors in this movie were great. Like
Yeah.
they felt like we didn't get much from them, but they all felt like real people. Like
And,
they felt
Annette-
like they had personality.
Annette Bening's character, too. Dr. Lawson. That was an interesting twist, that she was building this, what was it called? The speed of light engine?
Yeah.
I think
Light
just the
speed.
Light speed engine, right.
Yeah.
And she was harboring these Skrull refugees. That twist caught me off guard.
Well, what I don't get is, don't they have light speed? I don't understand. Aren't they using it right now? When Ronan left, isn't that light speed?
I think they're using portals, which
Yeah,
I
it looks
don't know.
like
If,
wormholes.
I don't know if there's like a difference
Yeah,
in
what's
universe.
the difference?
They should have had a
Maybe
scene
just the
where
power of light speed. I don't know.
I have no idea.
They should have had a scene when one of the characters folds a piece of paper and puts a pencil
Puts a
through
pencil.
it.
They should just use that scene from that movie with Sam Neill.
Yeah.
Now Sam Neill's going to explain how wormholes work.
Did the twist? Did you guys? I mean, obviously the Kree are bad. We see that in Guardians of the Galaxy. So, and Jude Law, I think everyone from the first trailer was like, yeah, he's the bad guy. But Ben Mendelsohn's always the useless bad guy. So,
Right, that's why it was clever to use both of them.
Yeah, so it was nice to see him.
They should have got Javier Bardem. Just as
I
a
wish it
random-
was more black and white, where, you know, you have people in the Kree that realize like it's not just like Kree's bad, Skrulls are actually good, and they did. Like, I mean, he said that he has blood on his hands too, but like just his character that once we get to know him, the real him, he's just a delight. He's just he's like the fucking the best guy in the world. Where I feel like if you had, you know, like actual reality, good and bad, and just ideological differences, but I guess it's not really enough to flesh that out. But it's just
Another hour for the movie.
because I thought Skrulls were like in the comics, aren't they bad?
Well, that's what a lot of
there's-
people thought they were going to do. Secret Invasion.
Yeah, because
that's
Secret
out.
Invasion is just the Skrulls invading Earth, a whole bunch of superheroes. I mean, Marvel used it as an excuse to bring back a whole bunch of heroes that they killed, but like,
There were so many
that's what I was
theories of,
expecting.
is this guy going to be a Skrull? Is that? And I was really hoping that they wouldn't do that.
for the movies, I didn't want them to
Yeah,
do
you
a Skrull invasion, because then it's like, oh, this character has been a Skrull the whole time, and I
You
didn't.
can change so much stuff.
I
though.
thought, well, when we look at the Skrulls now too, that they are good guys on the run. They're not good guys, but they are on the run. They are being persecuted by the Kree. So if maybe Hawkeye was a Skrull, you could still kind of root for him and his half human, half Skrull family with his wife, because that was the biggest candidate. It was Hawkeye. It's always Hawkeye.
Yeah, I know.
That's because
and-
Hawkeye in the movies is kind of useless.
He
Easy.
shoots stuff.
He keeps the
He's not
team
useless.
together
Listen.
according
He's not
to his
useless.
wife.
The comics
He's the
Hawkeye
glue,
is
the
so much
foundation.
cooler than movie Hawkeye.
You know, I think that happens. I think that's Jeremy Renner's fault.
Well, the movie Hawkeye just wants a life. He just wants to live.
They
you know?
based him off of
He doesn't wanna be a
Ultimate
superhero.
Universe Hawkeye. That one has a family.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, but the one in the like main continuity, he's just like a mess. Like
Yeah.
he just doesn't know how to function as a person, and
Yeah,
it's
but-
great.
He's gonna be like this now in Endgame, I think, because I think his family got wiped out. So now he's gonna turn into this rogue superhero and just
Oh
gonna
yeah,
be
there was no way his family was
fucking
making it out of the snap.
killing everyone.
His whole family got wiped out, but Captain Marvel luckily didn't. So. Yeah, but that scene, just going back to it at the end when they're looking at the pager, and they set up the pager with Nick Fury that she gives it to him and says, "I've enhanced it in case of emergency." I guess Chitauri didn't qualify as emergency.
Yeah, right.
Literally, I was thinking of all the different opportunities he could have used it for. He was like, "No, we got this one."
Calls it for Iron Man 2.
Only one.
Whiplash.
Oh yeah,
We
you only
can't
get one
beat-
chance.
Can't beat this guy. Yeah, but they call her. They I guess they picked it up from Fury's last location, and I couldn't believe it seeing Captain America, the real Captain. Some guy shouted that at the back, and I
What a
was like,
fucking-
"You were a douchebag."
Well, how about the guy in front of us who tried to have a slow clap for every fucking little thing? It's like, all right, relax, guy.
I did like that they redid the Marvel logo in the beginning to just be a bunch of stands.
Aaron hated that.
I liked it.
He didn't know who it was.
I knew it was. No, I just said like it was awesome, but I always like to see that before the movie, like Captain America and
yeah.
Iron Man. It's like
Is this the first movie, right? This is the first Marvel movie.
Spider-Verse, right?
Well, like Marvel movie.
Yeah, it is.
Like
I'm trying to
in
think when he
continuity.
passed away. No, I think Spider-Verse was the first one. Yeah, but for
like,
MCU, yeah.
the first
Yeah.
MCU, which
Because he was alone.
that his cameo was CGI, right?
No, he shot like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, I think he shot a few.
Oh,
It looked a little enhanced.
It looked a little bit. It looked like Samuel L. Jackson throughout the movie.
Well, they blessed him. And that's all it is.
I'll tell you what, that anti-aging technology
didn't-
for Samuel Jackson.
This guy looked like he's 20. Are you kidding me?
Like 20.
I give him like 48.
No.
Yeah. Looked good though.
Oh, he looked young.
No, he looked like a
48.
middle-aged,
So how old is he in?
Kind of
around
reminded me
70.
of what he looked like in Pulp Fiction. a little bit.
mid-60s. Yeah.
This guy's
Like
not
around that.
mid-60s.
Yeah.
Right now, he's 70 years old in real life. I'm talking
Wow.
about the first Avengers. If you
Yeah.
want to base it on that, it's
That's what I'm saying.
20 years,
I would've said
65 to 45. I think that's believable.
I would have said 40.
And Coulson's too. I mean, Coulson's was easier. They kind of gave him some elf ears, and a little spiky hair. Not a lot of Coulson. You don't like Coulson, do you? Why aren't you a big
And the
Coulson
only reason why I
guy?
hate Coulson is because the guy tried to do a clap when he came on. I'm like, fuck Coulson. He's not clap worthy.
He got a little something. Man. He got some love.
Well, that was the first movie he's been in, right? Since he died.
Yeah, since he died in Avengers. I mean, he's
came
like
back
one
in
of the
S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah,
Agents
well.
of Shield, which
Well, that show's gonna die soon too. So
Thank God. You should just snap all the fucking.
All the Marvel shows.
all the one bad Marvel show.
Yeah. I think. How'd you guys think? What was I gonna say? The whole lead up, it's like, oh, the cat steals the show.
He did.
Goose.
Goose was not Goose.
Should have kept it a fucking cat, and I would have been
Demise,
all
Goose.
aboard.
I thought the
No, that
the
was
cat
fun.
was
Did I
gonna
miss
be
something?
Cree.
Like,
I thought the cat was gonna be Larson.
I thought like
Lawson.
The cat-
What was her name? Lawson or Larson? What was it?
Lawson.
the cat kept appearing places, and I was like, oh, so it's a Cree pretending to be a cat, and then it just wasn't that, and I was like, I'm
thought it was
fine
a
with
scroll.
this. That's what I meant.
Yeah, I
Skrull.
keep confusing them in my head.
Yeah, same. I'm the shape-shifting one.
Well, he's a scroll in the comic.
yeah, I think so.
The cat.
I think so.
Well, his name. Well, it's a
The
Larkin.
cat is in the comic.
It's a Larkin.
Oh yeah, Goose is a comic character.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
But then again, the tentacles, I was lost. Like, okay, that's
It's a Larkin.
You
Like-
see that tribute to
Flurkin.
Groot though? It's a nice
Yeah.
reference to Groot.
I'm like, oh, lucky they had this alien cat that they just happened to find, or they would have been fucking toast. It's like there's no cat, then they fucking all die.
How's that not awesome to you?
I thought it would have been funnier if like they kept like threat level high and like Ben Mendelsohn was scared of the cat. I thought it would have just been funny if it was just a regular cat and they were all just scared of it and had a high threat level. That
Best of both worlds.
would have been funny.
It's a nice subversion.
Yeah.
Ryan Johnson wrote that. Cat's got superpowers.
But yeah, I mean,
That bit in the cockpit was funny too, when they're trying to get him to change into all different things.
I'll give you $50 right now if you turn into a.
A Venus flytrap.
Yeah.
Venus flytrap, yeah.
And he's just like so offended.
Yeah, right.
He's like, it
What's a
requires
filing
talent.
Right. He was really funny in that scene, and he was also funny in the scene when he shows up at the house.
I like
and
that
he's
he
trying
was
to
just
negotiate.
sipping on his shake.
It's like you might need to ask for a cup of sugar. He was funny in that. And also when they were like, my foot's going to find a place that... Am I supposed to guess where your foot's going to be? No, he was the best part of the movie. And he's such a good actor, and you mentioned it too. Finally, he's in a good role. 'Cause he's been wasted in so many
he's
movies.
just the bad guy of every bad movie
Yeah.
that's been out in the past 5 years. When's the last time?
Ready
he-
Player One was a good movie.
When was the last time he was a good guy? He was one. He was
Ben Mendelsohn is a good guy.
Ben, is he the one who
King's
played
Speech,
Gandhi?
right? Wasn't he King?
Oh, no, he was the king in
Did he play
The Darkest
Gandhi?
Hour.
The Darkest Hour. Okay, yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
depending on how you look at it. Did
But
he play
no,
Gandhi?
But he plays the
No.
king.
Am I thinking of the right
You're thinking
person?
of Ben
plays,
Kingsley.
Oh.
He plays the King's Speech guy. But no,
I don't know what
but
Ben
no
Mendelsohn
yeah.
looks
But no
like
stutter.
in real life.
He looks like Fury's boss. That's the other
He
thing,
is
too.
in-
Did
he is in
Fury's boss
Bloodline.
and the Skrull have the same voice?
Because when he first turns into the Surfer Girl,
Oh, yeah, he changes he has his voice, right?
he has
This
his
one's
Ben
taken,
Mendelsohn's voice.
But then when Fury heard him, then it should have thrown him off right away. It's like, that's not my boss's voice.
maybe it
Well,
takes a
he
while.
was
Boss
using.
ain't Australian.
He was, as the boss, he was talking with a different accent.
Was he?
He was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have an ear for accents.
It was a very obvious difference.
I'm not good at picking up obvious details. You know what I loved? A small little detail is that she had the Universal Translator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh my! I do know what Ben Mendelsohn looks like. He was in Rogue One. Never mind.
Yeah, he was in Bloodline too. I forgot.
Deploy the garrison!
Now, does the Universal Translator, is that for her? Like,
No, it
I
goes
think it's
both
just
ways.
if she talks.
she's moving her mouth to American.
That's just for us.
English. Yeah, I guess.
You're going way too deep.
I'm just saying, if they're gonna try to explain it, you know.
No,
They
but
didn't
that
look-
you have to just...
Yeah, I know.
That Radio Shack reference was funny too.
I knew it.
I
in
called
my
it.
head. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, this is definitely Radio Shack.
Security guard was electric.
The 90s reference. And when they're downloading the file from the black box.
Yeah.
It's taking forever.
What is it doing? It's downloading.
Yeah, I
A lot
thought
of cool
like,
90s
it was
references.
probably like a 6.5 for me for like the first two acts, but I really like the third act when she's fighting again. The aspect ratio enlarges, and she's fighting with the AI, the net betting. I guess what would you call?
Manifestation.
Yeah, and you go from that to her getting her powers and just having that showdown at the end where she's just going off. I love that. I always like. My favorite part of Justice League was Superman beating the shit out of Steppenwolf. People hated it. I'm like, that's what I want to see. I want to see these fucking heroes.
I'm a fan of truth.
beat the fucking shit out of everybody.
I'm also a fan of justice.
Well, that's what I wonder how they're gonna do it Endgame.
I love
Like,
Superman.
is she just gonna like overpower Thanos?
No, the thing with Endgame
It's like
is,
when you get your mom to beat up the kid.
Yeah.
Go to
thing with
Thanos'
Endgame,
farm.
like, people forget Thor fucking went right through his Thanos.
Yeah.
And if he just aimed for the head, he was toast. So it's not
Burnt.
going to be like the Avengers should have won, but he just has if he aimed for the head. Obviously, that's obviously he can't kill Thanos in that scenario because then you have no sequels. But I'm just saying, like,
So maybe she's here to just patch everything up.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but the
fix
plan
everything.
isn't go beat up Thanos.
yeah, they have to do
Yes.
more. They have to like
Yes.
get everyone back.
Well, there goes all the theories about her in the quantum realm.
Yeah. Well,
Were there
Ant-Man
theories?
will still go in
I
there.
haven't paid any attention.
Well, Ant-Man's in there, right? And then obviously he gets out from the trailer. But looking at that trailer too, was it the trailer or the TV spot? It was the TV spot during the Super Bowl when they have that moment where they all walk outside and they're looking up at something and there's a blank space where the person should be there. So we can assume that's Captain Marvel. And what's interesting too is that Captain America had his beard in that end credit scene, but in the trailer he's crying without the beard. So that means Captain Marvel came there and they told her what
Right
happened
away.
and
hanging out.
they still don't have a plan.
What if she was just like, yikes, and then
She's like, "Oh wow, that
Out
sucks."
of here.
Well, she showed up right away then. Like,
She's probably heard rumblings about Thanos. I mean,
how do you
Oh,
know?
I mean-
without a doubt, because she's a Kree.
You
The
got
Kree know who Thanos is. Ronan was working for him, so.
Unless Ronan was on the low.
Well, that's interesting too.
it seemed
because-
like they were keeping a lot from her though. Like when she was working with the Kree.
Well, what is she? Do you think Captain Marvel 2 is in between again?
Is that confirmed to Captain Marvel too?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this movie's about to make 150 million worldwide, 350 worldwide this weekend. So I'm wondering, you have to show what she does for the Kree Skrull War, right? You can get right back.
I mean,
into
she's
that.
definitely probably gonna find the Kree and help them relocate, fight the. I mean, find the Skrulls, help them relocate, and then fight the Kree. I mean, it seems like she can do it herself.
Can the Skrulls even fight the Kree though? Because the Kree seem like they're way too advanced. And
then the Kree get into a war with Xandar at the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy. So Ronan's still there. So what happened between her and Ronan? Because he's obviously still
Unless
running
she
rampant.
doesn't do anything with Ronan.
Hmm.
I mean, she might be like.
Well, at that point, yeah, it does seem that Ronan's kind of a rogue, and that he is working for Thanos. So she definitely has to know who Thanos is. I
that would
wonder
have
if she knows about the stones. What'd you say?
So that would have been 6 seeing Thanos.
Oh, I thought you said you want a sex scene with Thanos. What?
I mean,
Thanos
we're all
is thick.
thinking it. Ted's the only one brave enough to say it.
I could be a power
Let's
bottom
be
with
honest.
Thanos.
Okay.
Let's go to ratings. No.
Jesus.
You cut that out, right?
Oh no, that's
Might have to.
a cold opening. Is there
Well, I
anything
guess
that we're
you know, I
forgetting
mean,
that we didn't touch
she-
upon?
She is of an Infinity Stone, right? Kind of like Vision.
Is she?
Oh, that's the other thing. How did she absorb all that energy?
It's from the
Luck.
Tesseract.
She's the chosen one.
Luck. Yeah,
Yeah.
She's made from the Tesseract. That's how she got her abilities, right?
yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah.
She has
Well,
the
it
powers
proves
of
that
an
Vision can
Infinity
still be
Stone.
alive then.
Does it?
Does it?
Wait,
He
elaborate.
got
I
this
mean-
fucking stone ripped from his skull, and he turned fucking
Well,
gray.
he got made from the stone's power,
But
so
the
you don't
stone
need the
was
stone
like
to be.
literally part of him. I mean, it's now possible, I guess, that he could exist without the stone.
Yeah,
That's what they were trying to do, right? With Shuri.
I think they got it done.
And then they just
Did they get it done? Because I thought Thanos ripped the stone out from his
Yeah.
head, and they were like, "This is very complex and delicate, and we need to take."
Yeah, but
time
maybe
to...
it was all done already. Like the loose ends got taken out before this.
No, it was still in his
Like
fucking
all-
head
all-
when Thanos ripped
Well,
it
yeah,
out of
but
his
all the
forehead.
strings were cut. They just didn't.
Oh,
didn't
so if he-
pop the
if he,
stone
like,
out.
No, she was only
thrust
like
his head
halfway
forward,
done.
it would have just
Yeah,
popped
he could've
out like the
flipped
umbilical
When you
cord.
flick the stone.
Remember
it
that
popped
shot
right
when they're
out.
falling from the large tower and he's doing flips and I
The
guess
stone
the
is
stone.
still intact.
Yeah,
Well, he taped it.
yeah. It was a bit goof. Like goof.
He was goofing him.
Yeah.
You thought I was dead.
Some scotch tape.
I'll tell you what. Whether the stone was in or out, Thanos literally ripped his skull.
Yeah,
He
it
didn't
wasn't
just take the
I think it was
stone
his
out,
whole
yeah.
Teddy, why don't
forehead
you
came
think
It
if
looked like he dug into it, like it was like Play-Doh or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Teddy,
I don't know why it's
it
like
was out, then
pleasurable
why
to
didn't-
watch that. It's like popping a pimple.
the whole point of them removing it was so Scarlet Witch can destroy it. But for Teddy, they removed it. Like, nah, we'll keep it in there and let him rip it out.
It's like, honey, can't we just pluck it out? Like, no.
Speaking of
Did
Scotch
you,
tape,
Did you try that yet?
Speaking of Scotch tape, that was funny.
That was funny.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then
You really
when
want
she
to
just
play with this tape.
destroys when she destroys the door.
Was there no alarm system in this place?
What did you think of her performance?
It was
I found it.
That reaction just now?
I found it kind of
From us?
vanilla. Yeah, I kind of found
Honestly,
it bland.
I like-
there's so much about her having a cardboard face that I was like hyper focused on it for like the whole movie, and I don't know if I was just looking too much into it or whatever.
She does
I thought she looked hot.
in this movie. Well, okay.
Like I don't know if I was just like
Oh, Ted, you're on fire this review.
well, I think the movie did lack emotion, especially the scenes between her and her best friend. I felt like we were just like, all right, they're best friends, and that's kind of like our only connection to them. So like when they had these moments together, I wasn't really like.
She has no memory of her, so how can she have emotion of her?
That's
but
what I'm saying.
the
like,
scene where she realizes like everything she's thought was a lie, I felt that should have hit harder,
Yeah.
and it didn't.
especially that relationship between them. But I feel like looking back on it, like her chemistry with Samuel L. Jackson was awesome. It was just certain scenes I just felt like, there was no emotion to it. But that's on her. I don't think it's her really. It's just more the script. And I felt like the way the story, like the way it was constructed, I felt like it was just at times just a little
Well, I'd say
disjointed in the
the most
beginning.
emotional moment of the movie is when Mendelsohn reunites with his family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I said, it's the whole movie at times it did feel a little flat for me. And I do think Brie Larson is a good actor, but I think it's similar to Thor when he first got into a role. And I think there are a few castings that have hit right away. It's Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, perfect. Tom Holland's Spider-Man. But it's tough, when it's the first time in that role, and it is. I don't know. It's different from acting in an independent movie, where, like you said, Room, you do have more to work with in terms of emotion. It's a more raw and real story. This is fantastical.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
sometimes delivering those lines of like the one in the trailer that thankfully wasn't in the movie, it can come off
God,
as
yeah.
cringy and awkward. And
I mean, Jude Law said a lot like you need to learn to control your emotion, and I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but like
yeah, did she ever lose her temper?
it seemed like she was fairly like
Well,
even keeled
she
throughout
yelled at
most
her.
of the movie.
He like embedded that in
She
her
didn't
mind.
smile at the guy on the motorcycle. So
Well, he was trying to just pretty much trick her. Like, don't use your powers against me. Control your emotions. That was just all a mind game with him.
yeah.
yeah, holy shit.
See, he gives me
You are on
takes.
fucking fire.
You give me
right?
a few statements. I'll spit
You know,
one.
you know, what scene, you know what scene I really liked, but it came right after a scene I really didn't like? When they're going through like her memories and stuff like that. I felt like that was just, I guess you needed it, but that was kind of like,
In the beginning?
yeah.
Oh, I really like that.
I
I thought
the-
that was cool.
I liked when she broke free though, and she had the restraints on her hands.
Yeah, I
I love that.
that's why I
sequence
love
is
the whole
awesome.
first
Yeah.
act. I love the car chase on the train.
I thought it didn't flow right until once it got going, and the buddy cop aspect of her and Fury was probably one of my favorite parts.
I liked how compacted it was, though. Like, it wasn't the whole movie of her getting her memory back. Like, they made it, they simplified it to those first 10 minutes.
Right, yeah.
Like,
No.
it wasn't the whole movie trying to give her a whole backstory.
I agree. I
mean-
think that was a good choice by them.
I still wanted, like, the scene in Homecoming where Peter's stuck on, I guess, is this spoiler if you haven't seen it, when he's, like, stuck under the collapsed building and he's crying.
Yeah.
For me, when I first saw that scene, like, I almost cried. Like, it hit, I feel like it, even now on rewatches, it still hits pretty hard for me. And related, I think, when Carol finds out, like, her whole life is a lie and this whole thing, like, it should have been, I think, equal in emotional weight. And we didn't get that. And I was, like, a little bit disappointed with it. I don't know. I keep thinking about that scene because I remember, like, in the theater watching it, I was just like, okay. And what's going to happen next?
Yeah, the scene where after she listens to the black box, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she finally realized how serious it is when the scroll, like, all reunited. Like, she realized what she has to do now. Like,
I think it was because it was just so obvious that she was obviously a human being and she had her memories wiped and she was being used by the Kree. There wasn't any surprises besides the Skrull refugees. And that's what hit the most emotionally. So I don't think that's a coincidence.
Yeah, maybe if we hadn't seen, like, everything in the
there's
trailer.
Right. There wasn't a lot of mystery to it. And that's tough when you're marketing this movie as an origin story. But that's when you use that plot device, then sometimes that it's not going to hit emotionally.
that scene with her going into space would have been, like, great seeing it for the first time in the theater. And when she goes up and then she looks back.
Yeah, when she has the moment similar to Iron Man in the first Avengers, where she's tap dancing on all the missiles.
I appreciate the fact there's never a point where it's like they're playing too much into the fact like, oh, she might die, or sometimes like stories like that where they create this dangerous situation and like you're barely hanging on, even though we know the character survives. That's why I also liked when she was just ragdolling everybody. And like anything important that happened in the third act was to either develop her character, to get more, I guess, knowledge on her and the new characters. It was like, oh, I'm not worrying about Captain Marvel right now. I'm worrying about Ben Mendelsohn and his family. It's not like, she's getting beat up by Jude Law and all his cronies, and she's like hanging on to the last inch, and then out of nowhere, like the way she got her powers was more of like a mental struggle with the AI. It wasn't a physical struggle where you think she's going to die, because obviously she's not.
Yeah, I think that's why her confidence was so nice, especially because like the movie has been marketed since the beginning as Captain Marvel is going to appear in Endgame and she will be important. So like as far as origin stories go, like whatever happens, we know that she's going to come out of it alive. I mean, basically every superhero movie, you go in knowing they'll come out alive. But I like that they did, like you said, they didn't even try to go that route with it. Like her last fight with Jude Law.
Oh yeah, she fucking.
I was like, are they gonna try to make this high stakes? Like she literally just like destroyed an entire like army in space, and you're telling me that Jude Law is gonna give her a run for her money now?
Well, I chuckled when he pulled out his gun.
I was like, what do you think you're gonna do?
They have like a fucking western.
Did you not just see what she just did?
Yeah. But yeah, like I said,
it was cool when he put the gun away though, and I'm so proud of you. That was a fun moment.
But like I said before, the battle of the AI, like that just did more to develop her character and her, having the confidence and breaking free of the restraints and, embracing her power that she had inside of her. That's something where that's just more of like, it's not a physical battle. I just like that aspect of it.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that.
I was wondering why she didn't take that, like, why she didn't just pull that thing off earlier. Like, I guess she actually didn't know what it was.
Well, I think she thought that they gave her those abilities.
Okay.
Which I wish they would have established that too, that we're giving you these powers, but we can take it away by deactivating the chip. And then she realized that the chip was just restraining the power.
Right.
That the power was hers, that it belonged to her. You know who it kept reminding me of? It kept reminding me of Midoriya from My Hero. Her abilities.
Yeah.
The way that it kind of surges throughout her body.
Except she didn't break all of her limbs.
No, she understood how to not crack the egg in the microwave. Yeah, so I guess we'll go to final scores. Aaron, start with you.
I think 7.5. Very solid. Not my score rating, my scale adjusts all the time. It's so weird, but I kind of just do this thing like I watch it, like my first reaction. 7.5. Solid addition. I like the character. I like what they did in certain aspects. Story-wise, I felt it could have flowed a little better, but what do you expect?
I'll give
Godfather.
Yeah, exactly. It's a
So you hated it.
middle tier Marvel movie.
All right, Aaron hated it. Ted?
7.5 isn't hating. 7.5's like, it's pretty good. It's good.
I'm going lower. I was going to give it a 7. I mean, I don't really do the decimal
liked
system though.
Okay.
So a 7
You
is
go
like
whole numbers?
Yeah.
I used to be a whole number guy too. What about you, Marissa?
On that note, I'm gonna go 8.5.
That's high.
It is high. I liked it. It was fun. I mean, mid-tier Marvel movie. I
So
liked
you
it
think
better
it's
than
better
the first
than
Ant-Man.
2001: A Space Odyssey.
I've never seen that movie.
There you go.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't we? No, that was Manny.
You got to
Yeah,
do
that was
decimals.
Manny.
Well, I think last year I started because I saw like 50-something movies in the theater. I'm like, I have like 8 7s.
Yeah, right.
I got to differentiate.
Well, I like how Anthony Fantano does it, where it's like a low 7, mid 7, high 7. That's how he kind of does it.
I mean, to be fair, Marvel movies, I would say I don't have many Marvel MCU movies that I put below like a 7, besides like Thor 2.
What would you give Thor 2?
Like a 4.
Say something over 5. Okay.
I feel like
No.
7.5 is like my line. Like 7.5 and up, good to really good. Anything below that, it's like decent.
I have like Ant-Man at a solid 7.
Yeah.
Which
don't
I
know.
think in the review for Ant-Man, I probably rated it higher. Who
Ant-Man
knows?
and the Wasp.
That's always the thing too with these Marvel movies. Like I saw Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think I gave it like a 7.8. By the end of the year, it was like a 7.1 to me. So this might go down depending on.
You know what's funny is the original Ant-Man has gone up for me.
I didn't like the.
I haven't
original
seen
Ant-Man.
the original Ant-Man
original
since
Ant-Man
reading
is
it
It was
in
better than the
theaters.
first. It was better than the second one.
I think so. Yeah, I give the original Ant-Man like a 8.
I gotta
8 out of 10.
I gotta redo that because the first time I saw that, it was on. It was in bed on my laptop, off of a legal copy. It was barely HD, so I might have to give that another shot.
That hinders it.
So I never watched it again. It's like, oh, this movie sucks.
Yeah.
But I should give it a fair shake.
If you don't get the full experience, yeah,
This
you
will
can't give it a
probably-
score.
It might drop down a few points, or it might go up upon second viewing. Who knows? My brain works in crazy ways.
It's like the SpongeBob.
The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma.
What about you?
Probably 7.2. 7.2 out of 10. So I went lower than you, right? You went 7.5?
I went 7. He went 7.5.
Oh, I'm right smack dab in the middle,
Yeah.
like it's supposed to be. And you're 8.5. Always had to be better than us, huh?
I always like movies more than you guys. So
Yes, you do. You're more forgiving, which is... I wish we could all be like that. You know?
Well, does seeing this make you guys any more excited for Endgame?
I mean,
Oh,
that fucking
yeah.
close
Or-
credit,
I feel
yeah.
ever since Infinity War, every Marvel movie I've seen, I've just been like Endgame.
Oh,
Well, Ant-Man and the Wasp had a great Endgame
Yeah.
post-credit scene as well.
the way he lost his eye. Come on.
Oh, yeah, that too. I didn't like that.
That was stupid.
I wanted, something a little bit more intense than just the cat scratching
And he
him.
didn't even react to it.
He didn't.
You know,
Mother!
I never. Like,
That's the best with Sammy.
I
Sammy.
don't know
Just
what
call
I.
him Sammy.
I don't know what I expected from the younger Fury, but not one point during that movie I'm like, that's the man that's gonna lead Shield one day. He was comic relief, supporting.
Well, it seemed like
Captain
S.H.I.E.L.D.
Marvel.
wasn't doing anything at that time. S.H.I.E.L.D.
But
was kind
just
of in
his
a
presence
position.
and just
It
his
seems like
mannerisms.
Shield.
Like when we first meet him, he's like, "Oh, that's fucking Nick Fury." Like right away. Now it turns out he's fucking.
Well, you know, there's a sense of decorum. You have to...
Hey, Nick Fury, let's go get a beer. Before it's like, oh, Nick Fury.
I feel like they got the
kill
Tesseract,
me.
and then Shield became more of a thing
I was
because it
just
seemed like they weren't really dealing with. I mean, they weren't dealing with
Exactly.
any
How did
alien
they get
stuff.
the call? Like that was their original purpose, to go to blockbusters, if anything out of the
Well,
ordinary.
no,
happens?
it was said a girl blew a hole through.
Yeah, they
Blockbuster.
they tap into everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like that's like, all right, guy, we'll send a patrol officer there.
I was wondering that too. Why is S.H.I.E.L.D. there? That's weird. Intercepting calls, but yeah, the way he got his eye.
It should have been something like where maybe he.
Well, they hinted at it in the beginning too when he gets into that accident that he hurt his eye.
It could have been something
Oh,
where
yeah.
like he protects Ben Mendelsohn's character, and like he ends like something heroic, not just like a comic relief. Because every time I'm gonna watch Avengers and Iron Man, I'm gonna be like, oh, you got that eye patch because a fucking mutant alien cat scratched him.
That's
I mean,
a cool story, though.
I do like a little bit though when Coulson asks him about it, and he's just like, "I will neither confirm nor deny," and he's like, "I'm just gonna go with this story. That makes me seem cool."
Yeah, that was cool. Although that story would have been a better version.
Yeah. If
Yeah,
it
if that actually happened, that
I
would
don't
have
know
been
how you
like
pull
that
that
would have been a
off, though.
satisfying. Like I sometimes what Marvel does and pisses me off, like they sacrifice what could be like an emotional payoff or a serious moment for a quick joke, and sometimes
I like that. That's my only.
no.
That's like something like
Sometimes
that.
it works. Sometimes
Yeah.
I thought Thor Ragnarok and Taika Waititi is fucking amazing, where it didn't bother me at all in that movie because it was just so awesome and fit so well. But I feel like certain movies like this, or maybe even Captain America: Civil War, I feel like it's just thrown in there at awkward times. That's just Marvel in general.
I don't want to see it come to an end.
It's not gonna
It's
end at their
never
end game.
going to
I
end.
know, but you know
It's
what I
just
mean.
forever. Well, this first
We're probably
phase-
losing like 5, not 10, like 5 characters probably.
Yeah, Tormund, Jorah. That's in the same fucking weekend, dude. Battle of Winterfell and Endgame. You know how many bodies we're about to catch that weekend?
God.
That's a fucking depressing weekend. Oh my god, Monday morning. It's a little double entendre there. All right, well, that's the Nerd Soup podcast. Marissa, Teddy, Aaron, thank you guys for joining me as always.
Oh, like because they can mourn. Okay, I got it.
See, at the end, when he saw the picture of Carol Avenger Danvers,
Yeah.
and he switched the name from the Protector Initiative,
Yeah.
it took me a while. I was like, what did he call
It'd been
it?
funny if it was Justice League.
Justice.
Yeah.